Now, Nekias, Earl
Mhm.
Grey Duncan, do you have any
Who?
losers on this trade deadline?
I sure do, Steve. I sure do.
Who? Who?
Loser number yeah, where's the owl? The Miami Heat. It has
Oh.
to be the Miami Heat. And I recognize as someone that grew up a Heat fan, like maybe this is hitting me harder because of the emotional attachment. And I'll lay that on the table first. I don't, in a literal sense, I get how you get here, but it's kind of inexcusable that you leave this trade deadline without doing literally anything. One of three teams not to make any trade. The Heat, the Rockets, which who boy, stay there. We're getting to you, and the San Antonio Spurs. I understand the Giannis Antetokounmpo pursuit because why would you not want Giannis in the building if you have the chance? And within the broader context of Miami asset allocation and dreams acquisitions, Giannis has clearly been at the top of the list since Milwaukee was eliminated in the playoffs, and you had the ESPN article while he was at the Dern presser talking about his potential future in Milwaukee. Miami has been eyeing a potential Giannis pursuit for a very long time. So it makes sense that when presented with the opportunity to maybe trade for him at the deadline, this is what we keep the powder dry for. This is where we want to give up everything. And per reporting, Miami was willing to move anything outside of Bam Adebayo to get this done. But one, and we talked about this on this podcast, Steve, I asked you the question, hey, should Mill do this now or should they wait? I said they should probably wait, take this to the offseason if you're going to do it, and open up the pool. There was always the possibility of Giannis not being moved. In the broader sense, the possibility of Milwaukee not even being all that serious about Giannis being moved by the deadline. And Giannis himself, with everything that he has said this year, he has still found a way to come back to, like, in an ideal scenario, I would like to remain a Milwaukee Buck. This was never a guarantee. So am I upset that the Miami Heat didn't get Giannis? No. I'm sure the Heat are, and I'm sure Heat fans are, but like, no. The bigger problem is that if you are gearing up for a Giannis pursuit or any sort of star, we'll set the Ja Morant stuff aside for a little bit. You kind of need the assets to pull this kind of thing off. And the Heat's outright refusal to move off of things that get them more first round picks in the building, that get them more second round picks in the building, that may get them some distressed rookie scale contracts in the building that can later be used for stuff. It is incredibly frustrating that this is always land. And now you are in a situation to where this Giannis thing is going to be taken to the offseason. And in the best case scenario for Miami, the Bucks missed the plan. Giannis is like, actually, I don't see the pathway here. Y'all tried to make some moves. I don't really like it. I still want out. But now you are going to be dealing with potentially the Houston Rockets, who could toss out a lot of stuff. The San Antonio Spurs, who could potentially be tossing out a lot of stuff. The Los Angeles Lakers, who they just keep being mentioned in this. And I guess you can't, in a literal sense, eliminate them from saying sign and trade Austin Reeves plus the future first round picks that we have left to try to get them in the building. In addition to whatever Minnesota, who was heavily linked, the New York Knicks, who have more ammo in the offseason. You weren't in a position, you're just heading into this, you weren't in a position to outbid them if it gets to the offseason. And then you did nothing at the deadline to make her in better position to have more assets to toss if Giannis becomes available, or any other star for that matter. And looking at this roster, can I objectively say they are a bad basketball team? No, Steve. We've talked about how good their defense has been all year. We talked about their offense at the beginning of the year and in the middle of the year. We've just recently, not too far removed, to talk about, like, hey, man, Bam Adebayo is knocking down a whole bunch of threes now. Norm Powell's an all-star. Objectively, I can't say they are a bad team. I can firmly say this is not a title team. They're just not. And so, like, them staying in this middle ground and also not setting themselves up for moves that can get them out of the middle ground, it's sitting on your hands for some principle that is meaning less and less to the players that you actually want to acquire. How many of the young stars understand and respect, like, what Pat Riley means to NBA basketball? Like, we are getting close. We're just at the generation where, like, that does not hit the same as it would for the guys in, like, their late 20s, early 30s. You can't lean on that to the same degree. I think we both agree Eric Spoelstra, if he's not the best coach in the NBA, he's certainly in the top 3. at minimum, how much does that mean to some of the guys that you want to acquire if you don't have the requisite talent, one, to get that star in the building, but two, to be able to build around that star if you get them in the building. And thus you get the fruits of what Eric Spoelstra can do. And the secondary frustration thing for me, Steve, is because Miami has this market and because they are strong organ, they have this synergy between the main club and the G League club. They're always able to discover these guys, undrafted second round guys that fit into what we do. We get them through the G League system. We take them to the big market. We get quality minutes from guys like Max Strus and Drew Smith and on and on and on and on and on. You have proven that you can do this. It makes it even more excusable that you are not willing to then say, hey, we're probably not going to give this guy a 4-year deal in the offseason. Let's see if we can get some seconds, or let's see if we can get somebody else in the building and then just kind of restart the clock with someone else, because we have proven we have the development, we have the structure to be able to continue doing this. So what is this gray area that the Heat have found themselves in? Why are they comfortable being in this gray area? It's odd.
They're looking for the big one. They're looking for the big one. Because how do you know they could have gotten someone that would have improved their offer? How do you know? How do you know? Because here's the thing, right? You ever been in love, Nekias?
Yeah.
Sometimes you wait for the right person at the right moment. And it's a roll of the dice, Nekias. But I don't want to rush and make a move. And now I'm in a whole different state. And I've missed out on the biggest opportunity in my life. So I'm gonna keep cashing these checks. I'm gonna keep doing the best I can. And one day, we're gonna swing for the fences.
That's what this was supposed to be for.
They couldn't get Giannis. Now you gotta wait. Who'd you want them to get? Who'd you want them to get, the guys? Who's available? Who was there?
I don't even think it had to be a specific player, because I think I ended up tweeting because like they were naturally linked to John Morant. I don't think it's egregious that they didn't want to give up major stuff for John Morant. I think that part's fine. I just find it very hard to believe that we were in a landscape in which, if they put Norm Powell, for example, on the market, I don't think you put Norm for the 2K players. I don't think you put Norm Powell in the trade finder and it says no offers were found. I don't think it's literally zero. Now, that is not me arguing saying the Heat should take quite literally anything, because that obviously isn't fair and wouldn't be smart business. But like, I find it hard to believe that they would have been able to get like literally zero for Norm Powell, or literally zero for Tyler Hero, who they have shown by not giving them the extension. And Tyler Hero has dealt with health stuff on top of this now. But they have shown like, we don't really want to give the super long-term commitment to Tyler Hero. Between those two, Andrew Wiggins was linked to the Golden State Warriors and others. Like, I think they had stuff out there for their veterans if they were serious about their veterans. And I think once you hit the pivot point of Milwaukee informing folks, like, actually, we're just not doing this, one, you should just have the contingencies in place already. But at bare minimum, okay, let's make some calls. Is there anyone that wants to add a wing to the room? Is there anyone that wants to add some scoring to the room? It can't be literally nothing. It can't be nothing.
Why?
That's all I'm saying. Because what are you because what are you building towards? Like, what are you getting?
Solid team. Kick the can down the road.
It's been a whole lot of can kicking, Steve. That's all I'm saying. And I think that's where the frustration is building. It's been a bunch of can. And I think there was at least part of the justification over the past few years has been, okay, yeah, Harden's available, but we have these things, we can aim bigger than this. Okay, we really want Dame. We don't want to give up literally everything, because we would love to be able to set up another move beyond that if possible. That doesn't happen. And you go on down the line. We're talking James Harden, Chris Paul stuff they didn't really talk about or didn't really want to dig into it. So like, there have been plenty of names like, no, we can aim bigger than this. Giannis is the one. And so like, the fact that you have not put yourself in position heading into this deadline to have more than 2 first-round picks to be able to toss in a deal. Now, they could not account for the Terry Rozier situation. They get a pass from me on that one. Like I matter, but you get what I'm saying. You can't account for all the stuff that came with Terry Rozier and the pick restrictions and stuff like that. But if you're setting up for, we want to make a swing for Giannis, and with the way that the free agency landscape in general has changed because of the CBA, we've talked about this a bunch of times on the podcast, Steve. Free agency isn't the same. You can't just bake in clear cap space, sign superstar. These guys are taking their extensions when they can. They're getting supermax extensions, etc. You can't do that. Make sure you have picks in the room. Make sure you have young guys in the room. So if something like this pops, you can actually put together a grandfather offer or godfather offer, rather. Yeah, I think they deserve some criticism, or at the very least, it is more than justified for fans to be frustrated with this is how it ends, and they do nothing at the deadline on top of that.